So let's move on to a related but separate topic, the idea of harnessing the power of partnerships, which we've already touched on. Fintech and FinServe, there's a lot of overlap in services and overlap in end users. So how can you really start punching above your weight by drawing in strategic partnerships? And so, Lauren, I want to go back to you first, just to tell us a bit about Pinwheel's partnership strategy, because I know you have a lot of thoughts on this and you have a robust way of thinking about partnerships.
So like Pinwheel provides connectivity to consumers' income accounts. So that could be their payroll account, their gig economy platform, their unemployment portal, what have you. But that point of connectivity allows us to really in simplest terms, do direct deposit switching and retrieve data relative to someone's income and employment. There's a ton of places that those use cases can plug in where it makes a ton of sense. Like account opening is a great example. When someone goes to open an account, it should be really simple that they're able to say, okay, I open this new account at Chase or Chime or wherever, and I want to move my direct deposit to Chase or Chime or wherever right within that same flow. And so there's plenty of partners that offer digital onboarding services. We're never going to offer digital onboarding services. And those digital onboarding services are never going to offer income connectivity. And so it's just kind of a no-brainer for us to partner together and say, hey, why don't you embed our solution and have that kind of one-to-many distribution opportunity. And so that's like my favorite kind of partnership. And I would call that an integrated reseller. And that's where there's already existing distribution opportunity where you kind of can have that light switch moment of once the partner has fully implemented your solution, they can now offer it to all of their customers and you can kind of have that hockey stick growth moment. My second favorite kind of partner is like one where it makes sense, but maybe in the first few months, it's more of just a reseller. So before the firm really spends all this time implementing your tech, they're going to say, hey, you can add this to your contract. An example here would be like if we were working with a bank connectivity aggregator. And they said, well, we get asked a lot about connectivity to payroll or to government portals or to gig economy. We're not going to build it ourselves, but why don't we just like give customers the option to buy your service from us? Okay, great. In a lot of situations, the longest part of a sales cycle is going through procurement, particularly at a traditional financial institution. So if we can piggyback off an existing master services agreement and just get added on, great. I don't have to go through that 6 months. I don't have to go through those negotiations. I could do them once. And that's, again, a really good one-to-many distribution relationship. It's not going to solve implementation, but it is going to speed through procurement and contracting. And so for an early days startup, that makes a big difference in actually realizing revenue. And then kind of going back to my FOMO strategy, having just ecosystem referral partners is important so that you can point to a number of different options when your customer comes to you and says like, hey, I need a banking as a service provider, or I need a compliance firm. So like we have referral relationships with Very Good Security. We have a referral relationship with Rise, with Unit, with these different companies that are able to offer services that pretty much all of our customers need. Just it doesn't necessarily make sense for us to be like too closely aligned because we want them to go sell their banking as a service and they want us to go sell connectivity. And as long as we kind of partner together to make sure that that's as simple as possible, maybe it does look like an integration. That's great. And so those are kind of the three different types of partnerships that we focus on. And we really want to identify like, what are we trying to get out of this relationship and how does it increase our ability to do whatever our North Star metric is. For us, it's like the number of accounts that we have connected on our platform. That's our North Star. And so, of course, I want to get as broad of distribution as humanly possible. And so partnerships are a really effective way to get there. You still have to kind of consider if you're going to create channel conflict and those kind of things. But I typically don't shy away from complicated partnerships. I just try and have direct conversations around like, this could come up. If that comes up, what do we want to do about it? And, have termination rights and have those conversations ahead of time of like, this may not work, but maybe it'll work really well for a period of time that will benefit both of us. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of partnerships.
I love that. And I think that what you've outlined is just the way in which they can be a force multiplier. Like, again, that a way of getting that hockey stick growth can help you with your own growth jumps. And also the idea that there's not one perfect type of partnership. There's a bunch of different types, but you just have to align on your goals and figure out the right avenue for getting there. That's actually kind of a good segue. Sheila, I know that you had an experience at TrueAccord with kind of a different type of partnership and had a surprising outcome. I wonder if you could share that.
Yeah, just to add on to what Lauren said, you've got this opportunity to advance your business much faster by leveraging companies that do complementary services. And I think it's a really smart strategy. One of the surprising things for me is that even with a fairly sort of not well-defined partnership, i.e. we'll do this for you, you do this for us, sort of a loose referral agreement with not much teeth behind it. The simple announcement that this fintech company is partnering with this fintech company creates interest. And it's, think back to the FOMO analogy. Wait, what are they doing over there? And am I missing out on something? Should I be partnering with TrueAccord? What is this company doing for TrueAccord? And how do I get involved in that kind of stuff? So I think if you can, even in the beginning where you might not have a lot of teeth and a lot of structure behind a partnership, just the mere fact that says, we do complementary things. Hey, could you maybe, when this comes up, a need for our business, send them our way and we'll do the same thing. Let's announce that we're partnering. That announcement alone can draw inbound leads and much interest in more partnerships. So I think it's a really powerful thing that costs almost nothing to do.
Amazing. Yes. Yeah. And in that example, we don't have to get too specific, but there's an example of a partnership with TrueAccord where essentially the bones of the partnership was a press release, and that generated enough interest that that led to inbound leads. It led to conversations that even you were having. And I think that that's even just a cool model for thinking about that. Before we move on, I guess my last question is, I know that like not everyone is going to be a partner. So Lauren, I know that you and I talked a bit about like the qualification process and how you still have to qualify partners almost like they're a sales opportunity. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I think like it's one thing if you have a nice referral relationship of like, yeah, you're cool, you think we're cool, we'll see you at conferences. It'll be part of that strategy. That's great. But you don't want to invest too many resources in something that just like doesn't fundamentally make that much sense. And so I encourage my team to think about it like any other sales opportunity. What are we going to accomplish here? What is the impact of this? Does it contribute to our North Star, or is it a distraction? So absolutely qualifying just like anything else, even if it is a big shiny name, understanding like what are they actually going to accomplish for you.
Amazing. Great. So that takes us to our takeaways from this section on partnerships. So just to sort of reiterate some things that our speakers said, there's not one perfect model for partnerships, but it's really important to align on what the goal is, align on what the KPI is for your team. When thinking about who you might partner with, start by thinking about the end user and then work backwards. Who else is touching their journey and who might you have some overlap with for a powerful partnership, whether it's an integrated reseller or just referral program. And then knowing at the end of the day, you still have to qualify your partners like you would sales ops and make sure it makes sense.